Hi guys, my name is Barry and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, aka The Conjuring 3, and this is part of my Conjuring universe reviews. Now, this is one of the ones that was long awaited due to COVID. I know it was supposed to come out in 2020 and I can't remember if they started filming it just before COVID or during it or just after, I can't remember, but it was long awaited because it was the longest time between each Conjuring movie and it came out in 2021. We fast forward to 1981, new family, new problems, and in this one you've got a boy called Arn Johnson who takes a demon out of a little boy called David, and after taking the demon out of David, he then thinks his colleague is hitting on his girlfriend and turns into some sort of werewolf demon, so he ends up killing him, and then the movie becomes this court case drama in a way, similar to The Exorcism of Emily Rose, only The Exorcism of Emily Rose was done a lot better than this one. Now guys, my fears came true when this film came out because this one went full on curse, voodoo, demon, whatever you want to call it. This is what I feared for the Conjuring franchise, and I said it in the Conjuring reviews leading up to this. I want to see ghost stories like The Conjuring. I don't want to see curses that have to be broken because that takes away the realms of realism in an already unrealistic movie. Movies like The Conjuring, where you've got this house that's been haunted and you're trying to get rid of the spirits, that's enough. Don't go beyond that. If you go beyond that, you lose your target audience, or at least you lose the majority of the audience. And I did say, when voodoos and curses, etc. come into these films, that's when I have to tap out. And that's exactly what they've done in The Devil Made Me Do It. They introduced these curses, the voodoo, Lorraine Warren having visions of the woman who's still alive, having visions of a woman putting curses on people. I was just like, what the heck is happening here? Not only was it confusing, I just didn't like it at all. You've even got this side part, which wasn't the worst, but it could have done without, where Lorraine Warren's now become this psychic that's working with the police, sort of like the Giallo movies from back in the 80s, where you've got this woman who sees a murder in her head and she goes to the police and then she helps them solve the crime. It's similar to this, only it's done pretty good in a way. You know, it's decent the way it looks, but you've got that with the side story of the voodoo, the curse. Then you've got the court case with Arn Johnson, and then you've got the back and forth of how it happened and what happened. And then you've got the further involvement of how they're going to fix this. So there's too much happening. I don't know if it's got something to do with COVID, the writing, changing the writing before they started filming, or even changing the script during filming. I don't know, but this script was probably the worst in the franchise. Not the worst movie, but the script itself and the story, it just wasn't for me. When you look at the aesthetic of the film as well, there was something off about it. This one was directed by Michael Chavez, who directed The Curse of La Llorona and who's directing The Nun 2. So it's a different direction to the first two Conjuring movies that were directed by James Wan. But this one went, quality-wise, a major dip. It probably cost more than the previous two Conjuring movies, but there was just something about the look and feel of this film. It just felt off. It didn't look like a 1981 movie. It was set in 1981. Some of it just felt like it was too modern, even though they didn't have anything modern in it. I don't know if it was just the style of filmmaking that made me think this is just too polished, whereas the Conjuring 1 and 2, that were obviously set in the 70s, they looked and felt like they were in the 70s. You felt like you were taken back in time. Whereas The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It looked like a set piece that was set in 2021 and just people acting like they were in the 80s. It just didn't feel right to me. I don't put it down to just the director. I'd maybe put it down to the people who had the set design ideas. I don't know, guys. It just felt completely off. When you look at the cast as well, I can't remember liking anyone in the film, and my biggest issue with the cast was the fact that I didn't feel that connection or chemistry between Ed and Lorraine Warren. The first two movies, their chemistry was tight. It was amazing. In fact, I loved the chemistry in the first movie, and then when it came to The Conjuring 2, I didn't think the chemistry could be any better, and it got even better and bigger, and the more love that you felt between the two of them, you felt like Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga were actually together in real life. But in this one, I don't know if maybe Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga fell out during filming. I don't know. They just didn't feel like they were a couple anymore. The love and the affection that they had for the first two movies was completely gone in this. I don't know if it was intentional. Maybe they were maybe going through a rough spell in the film, or it was just, again, the direction, the script, the dialogue. None of it gelled together. And when none of that gelled together, the cast members just don't really feel it coming. Ed, Lorraine, they just didn't feel like they were a power couple anymore like they were in the first two movies. And without them being tight, then you just didn't feel the love and the warmth. And their task of defeating whatever it is in front of them, because they're not really in it together, it just felt like it wasn't going anywhere. If you look at the jump scares in the movie, sadly, the jump scares are just like movies like The Nun. None of it was really a big payoff. It just scared you because you jumped. I've said it time and time again about jump scares, guys. You know, you can enjoy a jump scare every now and again that's just a jump and cheap, as long as it's complemented before it and after it with really good build-up jump scares. But in The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, I don't remember there being any really good build-up scenes that you got a jump scare or a big payoff. It was just your cheap and nasty jump scare with no context to it. And I was just like, that I jumped. I wasn't scared. I just jumped because when you turned the camera, somebody was there. And I was like, oh, I got a fright, but I wasn't scared. Sadly, guys, this film didn't do it for me. To the script, the dialogue, the look, the aesthetic, the feel, the score, the direction, even the acting from Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, just didn't feel it. I didn't feel it at all. The way I feel about this film looked like the way Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga felt about this film. Maybe they thought, we're coming into this too late now, we should have filmed this a year ago, or I don't want to film this anymore because maybe we should wait for a different script or a better script. But they were paid to do a job, they were in and done it, and you know, that's my only positive, that they actually went and filmed it and they saw it through to the end. But I didn't like anything about the movie at all, guys. Nothing memorable about it. Nah, didn't like it. Sorry. So what are your thoughts on The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It? I've not heard a lot of massive negativity towards it. I know that it's a major step down. That's a fact from the first two movies. But what are your thoughts on this movie, guys? Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
To get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back seat!